Question 12. What number is halfway between 1.4 and 2.1? Now there's two different ways you could do this. Way number one is to add both numbers together, then half the answer. And that would give you halfway between the two numbers, and that will always work. So if we try that method, we'd have 1.4 add 2.1, so 4 add 1 is 5, 1 add 2 is 3, so we'd have 3.5. Now we'd have to half 3.5, so half of 3.5 might actually be easier if we call it 3.5 with a 0 on the end, because half of 3 is 1.5 and half of 0.50 is 0.25, and if we add those together we've got 1.5 add 0.25. Well, 1.5 add 0.25, remember this 0.5 means 0.50, so add them together, nothing and 5 is 5, 5 and 2 is 7, 1 and nothing is 1. So halfway between those two numbers is 1.75. So what we've done there is we've added them together and halved it. Now there's a totally different way you can get exactly the same answer, and what you could do is this: you could actually find the gap, half the gap, and then add it on. What that will mean is will become clear when we do it now. So if we find the gap between these two numbers, it means we're finding the difference between them, which means we are subtracting. So you could actually start by subtracting the numbers. 1 take away 4 we can't do, so we need to borrow 1. Now we've got 11 take away 4 makes 7, and 1 take away 1 makes nothing, so the gap is 0.7. So you find the gap, 0.7. Now we need to half the gap. Well, half of 0.7, it's easier to do half of 0.70, because 0.7 is the same as 0.70. So if you half 0.70, it's like half of 70. Half of 70 is 35. So half of 0.70 is 0.35. So half the gap is 0.35. And finally, you would need to add that back on to the original and the smallest number, which is 1.4. So if you do 1.4, add 0.35, which is half the gap. Remember, this gap here is a 0, so you can fill a 0 in here, and then just add it on. Nothing add 5 is 5, 4 add 3 is 7, and 1 add nothing is 1. Put your decimal point in, and look, you've got exactly the same answer, two different ways. So 1.75 is the answer we're looking for.